Thanks for being here once again. Uh, February 5th, 2025. Yes, I looked at my watch, but it's on me, so I don't have to go off the screen to look at it to see what day it is. Uh, this is a series where I record a video every day of my life, just talking to you, who's ever watching, and just kind of venting. If you watched yesterday's video, I had a bunch of laundry on my bed. I was doing laundry, kind of had a little crash out moment, had a lot to say. But I just kind of want to talk about how I used to be a professional crash out. Like when I tell you crashing out was like a Steven staple. Uh it was to a point to where I'd crash out and my friends would be like, okay, well, there's Steven being Steven. But it's like I I want to tell stories, and I don't know if I should tell stories. Maybe I'll tell stories as the video goes on. But I used to be the biggest crash out ever over just the most simple things possible. Like I just wasn't there, and I know why I wasn't there. The environment that I grew up in, that I was around, which not even like the environment that I grew up in, because I grew up in a very well taken care of household, but the environment of doing that creates bad habits to where a person feels as if they have to do certain things and be a certain type of person. You know how I am. I don't want to say I was spoiled. I'm trying so hard not to use those words because that's what everybody who's probably watching this video right now is thinking. Oh, he probably means he was spoiled. No, I grew up in a way to where it was cool to do certain things. And although we didn't have to do those certain things, it brought some type of excitement to do those certain things. And with being the youngest in my family, seeing older people in my family, people that I looked up to, uh, people that I wanted to be like, doing these things, I felt like I had to do them too. And at some point, that drops like a poison into your mind to where you're doing it because you think it's cool, but then you're doing it because it's all you know. And that's what it became. My professional crash out, my profession in crashing out came from me doing things, a repetitive action to where it became something that I knew but didn't know that I was doing. So that was kind of like where that was at. And it would be over the craziest things. Like I would, let's say, sleep. If I got 8 hours of sleep a night, I was fine. If I got 7 hours, 59 minutes, and 56 seconds of sleep, I'm crashing out. I'm just somebody that I didn't care to be, but I was. I think that comes from needing a certain structure in my life. I think that's where I failed to understand myself, that I'm the type of person who needs structure in their life. So when things are off, I'm off. So I would crash out over the silliest things. And looking back at it now, I laugh, but I have done some things in my life that I don't even know if I should repeat or if I want to repeat, because it's like I not only want to put that in the past, I just want to just deny that I even did these things. I crashed out hard. I remember one time, story time. This is a story I'm going to tell. And you know what? This is a story that I this is an off channel compared to my main channel, and I don't know if anybody that I know follows this channel, and I hope they don't, because this is a vent channel. This is a channel where I want to be myself, and I don't want to feel like I'm making content. I just want to talk. But I remember how old was I? I want to say I was like 15 or 16. I don't know, and I don't remember what the thing was, but I remember the crash out. and I was blessed to live in a two-story home with a large yard, and we had a pool, and we had a trampoline. And I remember crashing out so hard that I climbed the little ladder because we used to jump off the roof onto the trampoline. I remember, and I don't know why I did it like this because I could have just jumped from somewhere else. So I I told people around me that I was done. Life's over. Life is no more. I like I said, I'm 15, 16, something like that, right? I moved the trampoline to the side. And the part that I say that's irrelevant about that is I climb up on the roof, a second story roof, and I tell everybody I'm gonna jump. But but before I climb up on the roof, I move the trampoline because this trampoline is in a spot to where we would jump off the roof onto the trampoline. We called it a super bounce. Like you would hit the trampoline and you would shoot back up to where you jumped. But then we also had people who would like after you shot up, they would jump on the trampoline to kind of break the fall as you came down. So I moved the trampoline thinking I'm gonna jump from this one spot and I'm gonna miss the trampoline and I'm going to unbe here. Let's call it that. Unbe here. So I moved the trampoline and I don't realize how stupid I looked because the trampoline is very heavy. And the way that a trampoline is built, I don't know if you've ever tried to move a trampoline before, but you literally grab it from the bottom and you do one tug and then you go back like two steps. And then you grab it and then you tug it and you move back two steps. So in my backyard grass was very long for some reason. I don't know why it was never cut. It was just never cut. So I grabbed the trampoline and I'm like yanking it, yanking it. I moved it so far to that one spot that I was going to jump off the roof onto the ground. Mind you, it's a two-story house. Yes, I understand that that is very high. In certain situations, depending on the ground, the condition, how I land, unless it was like on my head or something, like if I fell on my arm, two stories, you're not gonna not be here anymore. Um, and it can happen. I've heard and I've seen it happen. But I yanked and I yanked and I yanked and I yanked the trampoline to the other side of the yard. I had a big yard, by the way, and I had to move like obstacles around, like I said, I had the pool, so I had to like yank it straight, and then I had to yank it down, and then I had to yank it around the pool, and I yanked the trampoline to the farthest part of my yard, and I climbed up on the roof. And this was back before, cell phones were a thing, like it was a thing, but it wasn't really a thing. And I remember like telling like my neighbor friend, like, I'm done. And the way that my neighborhood was set up, my next door neighbor was a childhood friend that had like three brothers. My right neighbors was a childhood friend who had like three brothers and sisters. Everybody around me had family, friends, yada 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 that we knew. I've lived in my the house that I live in now for a very long time. So telephone gets around, right? One person sees me talking about I'm gonna jump, and they go next door and they tell their brother. Sure enough, they tell the person up front. Sure enough, they tell the people who are in front of the house that I live in. And it telephones. It telephones around like the five houses that are around my house. Now, when I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do something, right? Wrong. Uh, but because I said I had to do something, I had to do something. So after yeeting the trampoline far away, climbing up the second story to my roof, I see people lining up coming out of their house and they're just watching me. And at some point, I'm like, yeah, yeah, like I'm gonna do it until I see this. Cell phones. And this is when we have the flip phones. I see people just sitting there waiting for me to jump. Now, don't get me wrong. I know these people. They were my friends, my neighbors growing up. They knew I wasn't going to jump. I didn't know that I was not going to jump. The whole street at this point is watching me as I'm on my roof. On the one spot, mind you, where the trampoline would be if I jumped straight off. But then something like in my head, like made me come to a realization that I didn't have to move the trampoline. I could have jumped from anywhere on my roof and got the same results that I was seeking. So at that point, it wasn't the fact that my neighbors were watching. It was the fact that I felt so dumb that I went the extra mile to think and show people I was about something that I really wasn't, but I was. To show them I was going to do it, I moved the trampoline. I got up on the roof. And then I was like, oh shit. I could have jumped from anywhere. Better yet, the spot that I was jumping from was into my backyard where there's grass, where there's trees. There's a bunch of trees in my backyard. And when I'm sitting there and I'm realizing, and I turn around and I see all the people, once again, because I'm shifting back and forth. I'm looking at the people in the front yard, and then I'm turning to the back, and then I'm doing one of these to where I'm like, I'm gonna jump, and I didn't, right? And then I look at the people, and I realize, and this is gonna get a little dark. I realize if I jump from the front of the house, there's a car I can land on. There's a metal fence I can land on. I have like in front of my house, I have like these the fence that has like the little triangle points. Could have landed on that. I could have landed on the concrete driveway. But because I built up the idea of me jumping off my roof into my backyard, there was no way I could jump off my roof in the front yard and actually have the logical sense of like, oh, land on the car, land on the fence, impale myself, land on the concrete, go splat. No, didn't think anything of that. You know what I do? I start to cry. And in that moment, I'm crying and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, guys. And they're like, jump. No, they're like, no, they're like, get down. And I was like, fine. But I don't want to, because like the thing is you have to play it up, right? When you do something stupid, you just can't be like, oh, okay, I'll get down. I was like, no, I'm not getting down. I'm gonna jump, but you guys don't care. So I'm literally trying to have everybody feel bad for me. Everybody's like, Steven, we love you, blah blah blah. Like, please come down. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna come down, but I don't want anybody to talk to me. And I climbed down. And when I climbed down the stairs, my dad was there. He looked at me. He said, son, whatever it is that you're going through, let's talk about it. And I was like, you know what? It's probably a good idea. And I cried into my dad's chest. My mom came and I cried into my mom's chest. And at that point, I was like, man, like people really care for me. And nothing happened. There was no punishment. 2 days later, my dad comes in the room. He's like, you know that shit that you pulled the other day? Belt comes out, whack, whack, whack. I get my ass whooped. Anyways, thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching the video every single day of my life. That's just a little bit of trauma that I had. I have so many more stories of just the stupid things that I did. But yes, I ended up getting my ass whooped It wasn't at that time. Thank my parents for not doing it at the time because I probably would have crashed out harder. Um, I have so many stories of just me just crashing out for no apparent reason. And I'm gonna love to share with you guys over the span of I don't know how long this is gonna last, but yes, I did get beat. I did not learn my lesson because I continued to crash out. But in that time, in that moment, my parents were very comforting to me, and I greatly appreciate that. I love my parents. My parents have done so much for me, like literally, like not my best friends because my parents will never be my best friends, but like the most important people to me, like ever, because they have just been there for me emotionally through my growing up, my teens, my early 20s, my early 30s. Like they have been there for me for so much. But yes, I did get beat. Mind you, this was a time when beating children was okay. I fully support beating your child if their child acts up. If my child got on a roof and they were talking about jumping and the whole neighborhood came to watch my child jump, I beat him too. So no hard feelings. Love you, mom and dad. Hope you never see this video. Anyways, again, like, comment, subscribe, watch the other videos. I'm gonna do a video every single day for the rest of my life. I think this is video like 36 or 37, if I can do my math right. I don't know. I started this January 1st, and I'm just gonna continue to be here. So if you're here, thanks. Comment. Um, and that was one of many of the stories that I have. Love you all. Thank you. Bye.